Can Christopher Walken ever play a bad guy ever again? Let's find out on Film Threat Reviews. I'm Alan Ng. I was Zorianna Kit, and today we review PERCY vs Goliath. A Canadian farmer takes on a giant corporation after GMOs interfere with his crop. This movie is directed by Clark Johnson. It stars Christopher Walken, Zach Braff, and Christina Ricci. So this is a true story of a Canadian farmer from Saskatchewan. He basically saves his seeds for crop every year, and in that was mixed in a bunch of GMO seeds, genetically modified seeds from Monsanto, and they're now suing him for having stolen their seeds. So this is kind of a courtroom thriller. What did you think of PERCY versus Goliath?
Well, first of all, seed stealing and farmers taking on a courtroom battle sounds like the most boring topic ever. Like, woo, let's go to the theaters and see that. Mind you, when I found out it was Christopher Walken in the lead role, I was much more interested. But still, you've never seen a courtroom drama so dull than PERCY versus Goliath. I wasn't interested in these people. I wasn't vested in their stories. I wasn't rooting for them, but I wasn't going against them. Like, we have our corporate Monsanto, but there is no face of Monsanto in this movie, just like
just a team of lawyers, basically.
Yes, and the only one we recognize is Martin Donovan. So there's no clear villain to kind of, if you're going to root for someone, you want to root against, you want to then, not root for someone else. And there wasn't a clear-cut villain that I could just kind of go to and go, that's the bad guy. I don't like them. I'm for Christopher Walken. So yeah, it didn't do it for me, really.
Yeah, I took a very different viewpoint because I totally understand what you're saying, because it's true. The villain is a team of lawyers. It's a bunch of letters that get passed back and forth, but to me, I think I was much more engaged with the story of it because I see a lot of documentaries, especially once I started here at Film Threat. I've been getting a lot of these agricultural documentaries where very anti-capitalist, but and rightfully so. It's these mega corporations coming in, basically buying out family farms, destroying family farms with schemes like this GMO, these GMO seeds. It's one of these where they're gouging farmers out for having this crop that is resistant to Roundup pesticides. And so now they're going to sell this crop, these seeds to farmers for an exorbitant price, and then go after any farmer who doesn't buy into their products. And I've it's like I've seen at least 4 documentaries in the last 2 years that kind of take this issue straight on. And I was angry then. I'm angry now, and I think that's why I felt angry I felt engaged with the story, and Christopher Walken is the hero who takes him on.
Yeah, but I think I would have enjoyed the actual true story documentary version of this movie. They do show at the end what this real life couple looks like and everything, but I think I would have preferred the real life version, because this Hollywood version, I mean, we've seen this type of little guy taking on the big guy in so many movies done way better. Aaron Brockovich being the standard, the standard example of something like that. There was no one with charisma. Christopher Walken didn't have, he wasn't, he wasn't charismatic. There, I've said it. For someone who is such a revered actor and so loved and so amazing to watch on screen, I felt like everyone in this movie, including him, Zach Braff as his attorney, Christina Ricci as an environmentalist, I felt like everyone just kind of signed on to this, whether because it was for the paycheck, or somehow Christopher Walken was the first person cast, and that made everyone go, yes, 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 I want to be in a movie.
Yeah, I will say that, I felt very much differently about Christopher Walken than you did. I love the man. I love the performance, because he is that everyday man who who is, it's like if you or I were to ever get sued by a giant corporation. I think I would feel like the Christopher Walken character in this case. He's not the knight in shining armor with his sword raised. He's the reluctant battler who has to go into war against a true Goliath in this case. And yeah, it's very formulaic. I will say that. It does do the formula to get to the ultimate ends, which is the true story here.
And to me, it was really disappointing because the director, as someone who's Canadian, I'm very familiar with Clark Johnson's work. And in fact, as a Canadian, everyone was really happy for him because he was an actor on Homicide: Life on the Street. He's acted in so many TV shows. He is also a very accomplished episodic director. I mean, he's directed a lot of episodes of Homeland. So that he's great. He's Canadian. He's great with actors. He's great with material. And I felt like, considering his pedigree, that he brought nothing to this film. There was no style. There was, like you said, it was formulaic. And it was just, you're already dealing with an uncinematic story and not even Christopher Walken can save it.
Yeah. I will agree with you in the sense of if this was an independent film with, up and coming actors instead of Christopher Walken, Zach Braff, Christina Ricci, it would lose a lot to it because we're finding new actors and we're appreciating the performance. But here, clearly it's greenlit because it's greenlit. The cast was brought in because they were able to get such a get in Christopher Walken. And, that just is a testament to how well, veteran actors can elevate material. Yeah. The question then is, how far does it elevate it? And I'm okay with the movie. I wasn't really disappointed. There are areas where it's like, okay, this is formulaic. The Christina Ricci role, I kind of liked. She was just a little, she played the over exuberant protester, who ultimately she's going to get put in her place. And then the ending just kind of wraps itself up fairly quickly. And then there's the one.
How disappointing is that ending when the verdict is delivered over the phone by someone else?
Well, that brings up a question I have for you about this is a story that takes place in Canada, and part of it feels there were times where I felt like they were conflating U.S. justice with Canadian justice, and I wasn't sure. In fact, the ending song of the movie is "This Land Is Your Land," which is very much an American song, and I'm like, well, has Canadians adopted that song, or? Well,
there is a reference to Vancouver Island in that song, so I mean, I don't know. It's a very Canadian story, populated completely by an American cast, except for the actress who played Christopher Walken's wife, and also the Adam Beach, who was one of his workers. But it was, this distinct Canadian story set in Canada, but it was populated by like the most American actor you could possibly have in Christopher Walken. And so yes, it was a little confusing for someone who has made, who called both sides of the border home. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't even attempt a Canadian accent whatsoever.
And I was
were a toque, he didn't say a.
Yes, I know. I kept thinking like, oh, I would love to see Christopher Walken slip in a few A's and, just that accent that sometimes slips in me as well. Yeah.
Slap on some back bacon and
a boot.
All right. So, so clearly you weren't very impressed with this story. Left you feeling flat, and, ultimately it was a courtroom drama about seeds. So I'm going to guess you gave it, I'll go 5.5.
Oh gosh. I actually was torn between a 5 and a 6. So I was going to be slightly generous and give it a 6. But yes, that is the range. It just was, I felt like it was just a slog to get through, and there was nothing really that interested me, except for knowing the real story, and hopefully there'd be like a documentary version of this that I would think I would enjoy more. But yes, you liked it a lot more. The acting, I guess, didn't bother you like it bothered me. Maybe because you're American. I don't know. Maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe it was an American film shot in Canada. So.
Totally. And I'm like, this is a Canadian film shot with American actors. Yeah. Two different perspectives. Clearly, I had a problem with that. But you seem to have. Seed stealing is up your alley, totally, Alan. So I think maybe you gave it a 7.5.
I gave it a 7. You know, this subject, like I've become very passionate about in terms of the corruption in the farm industry, in the agriculture industry, especially on the corporate side. You know, we've got some great films in our reviews: Biggest Little Farm, Fat Fiction, Super Size Me 2. That really gets into these issues of how corporate America is destroying the agriculture, not only in America, in Canada, but across the world. And so I was a little more connected to the issue clearly than you were. So that's why I was much more passionate about the film. All right. So with that, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below on what you thought of Percy vs. Giant. It's on VOD. It might come to theaters. Who knows? Christopher Walken, come on. So with that, let's get out of here.